Hello everyone, this is Derek from Corax Training, and today we are back talking about my 5 favorite rifles. I love rifles. I primarily teach people how to shoot rifles competitively. I primarily compete with rifles. I just love them. So I have a lot to say about these rifles, and I hope you join me for the ride. Starting right off with number 5, we have the IWI Galil Ace. This is the 13-inch 5.45 variant. I know. 5.45. Why would you do that? You can't buy the ammo anymore. Or if you can, it's very expensive. Fear not! I spent the entire Trump administration buying 5.45 when it was as cheap, maybe a little more expensive, than steel-cased 223. I figured something like this would happen. Russia would do something silly, or they would continue to be sanctioned. I'm okay. I've got enough 5.45 to last me until I'm a very old man. As I said, this is the 13-inch. I think it's the best length. It's sort of the schmedium one. It came as a pistol. I stamped it. I was able to get the stock straight from IWI. And I think it all looks pretty cool. I did do the Magwell Delete kit because I think it just looks better, and it does have the ALG AK trigger that was modified to fit a Galil. I'm told the modifications are rather minor, but I did not do it myself. I took it to my 0702 Sterling Arsenal. You're going to hear their name a lot in this video. They have been very good to me for the past decade, to include sponsoring me as a competitive shooter. So I do shoot for them. If you're in the Northern Virginia area, you really should check them out. They do great work. So that's number 5, the IWI Galil Ace. Oh, and real quick, it is rocking the Yankee Hill machine. I don't know if that's a turbo or a resonator, but it's a relatively inexpensive suppressor that can be tuned because this gun has a K&S adjustable gas piston in it. So I can run a traditional suppressor and just tune the gas back on the rifle itself. Moving on to number 4, you knew you were going to see something with an HK flavor to it. This is my Vector V53. Again, started life as a pistol. Stamped it. If you're unfamiliar with Vector, well, you haven't been in the HK clone game long enough. They were one of the originals. If you wanted to buy a 5.56 HK clone, you bought a Vector. This was before any of the Turkish companies started importing, closer licensed copies. This gun runs awesome. I do have a bunch of different locking pieces for it, so I can tune it depending on the load and if I want to run suppressed. Speaking of, I am using the Silencer Co. Velos low back pressure 5.56 suppressor because trying to suppress a short-barreled 5.56 delayed roller gun is kind of a pain in the butt. But if you just use the low back pressure suppressors, makes life a lot easier, man. The gun doesn't feel like it's trying to commit suicide anytime you pull the trigger. It actually feels fun to shoot. The only other mod here is I do have the Magpul trigger pack and selector. It really does make a big difference with the ergos. Again, factory MP5, G3, whatever ergos. They're not great, but this does help. Topped off with an aim point there. Yeah, it's a good optic, obviously. Moving on to number 3, we have the CZ Bren 2. Again, this is a 12.5-inch medium version, bought as a handgun, pistol, and stamped as a short barrel rifle. 12.5-inch version. This is one of my guns I have set up for night vision, so that should tell you how I feel about the gun. I do trust it enough to set it up for night vision, so I have my D2, which is a big chunky night vision device, but short of spending $3,000 or more than that on a civilian mall. It's the brightest illumination you're going to get because it is not a laser, it is actually an LED emitter. Again, topped off with an aim point. Pretty good night vision performance out of those dots. And I don't like EOTechs, so that's about as good as you're going to get. This one also has a flow-through suppressor. This is the PTR vent. Really quickly fallen in love with that can. It is awesome, especially on the Bren 2. The Bren 2 does have adjustable gas. I have a adverse, normal, and suppressed setting. The suppressed setting was done custom by Sterling Arsenal because the factory third position was just no gas, it was off. CZ is fixing that, and in the Bren 3s, that third position will be a suppressor setting. So if you buy a new Bren, you will have solved that problem. What kind of stock is that? That doesn't look like a Bren stock. You're correct. That's a G36 style stock made by HB Industries for the Bren. I told you I was an HK fanboy. I just didn't really like the look of the Bren stock, and I like the G36, so I threw that on there. I think it looks pretty good. Of course, it works fine. You can still fold it. It's still functional when folded. You know, all that good stuff. I shoot a couple matches a year with this just to stay proficient with the gun, because again, it is one of my night vision guns. So you got to stay proficient there. Definitely my favorite short stroke piston gun. Moving on to number 2, this one is largely for aesthetic and sentimental reasons, but it has to be my Aero M5, 3R8, 308, AR-10 sort of style gun. What makes this gun special is obviously the custom Cerakote and engraving done by Sterling Arsenal. You guessed it. They were able to sort of Cerakote my logo into the upper and do this awesome laser engraving into the lower that has my logo and company name. It's just so cool. I asked them if they could do it, and they said, of course, man, we'll do that. And it came out way better than I ever thought. It's an AR-10, so it's kind of big, it's kind of heavy, it kind of thumps you around a little bit, but it's a blast to shoot. It's a lot of fun. Rocking the OSS Ventum 762. Wow, another flow-through can. Yep. You'll notice all my favorite guns have flow-through cans. Why is that? It's because I shoot them a lot, and I don't want any of that gas. I want to minimize gas and all that nastiness to my face. At least for now. You only get one set of lungs, so I'd like to keep them working as long as possible. This does have an adjustable gas block, but I don't really use it because I just kind of set it and it works just fine with the flow through. So number 2, definitely the custom Corax training AR-10. Number 1 can't be anything other than my Sterling Arsenal AR-15. This is a dedicated competition gun that was made for me, custom by Sterling Arsenal when they first brought me onto the shooting team, and that was like 7 or 8 years ago. It's been a long time. I have absolutely beat the crap out of this gun. You can see in the Cerakote. Again, this is 7 or 8 year old Cerakote, so it looks pretty darn good considering the level of abuse it has taken, but it's not perfect. Every couple of years, I take the gun into the shop and they tune it up for me. So, I'm definitely on at least my second barrel. Gas tube, gas block, all that stuff. They check the bolt, headspace, all that good stuff. She keeps running. The muzzle brake, comp, whatever, is extremely effective. I can split this thing pretty fast. I know the custom sort of whatever enhancements they do to the trigger are pretty good. Still, of course, a safe trigger, but and it's not super light, actually. It's not like it's a pound or 2 pounds or anything crazy, but the combination of the pull weight and the return spring force is just really well balanced, and so you can really split this thing pretty quickly. For people who do not compete, you're probably looking at that optic setup and asking questions, or maybe you're even having a little bit of a giggle. What the heck is going on up there, man? Why would you have two non-magnified optics? It's a good question. Pretty common question. It's purely competition related. There is nothing tactical or high speed about this setup. The inline optic is for doing inline optic things, just normal. I'll note that depending on the type of match I'm shooting, that inline optic can and will be replaced by an LVPO, the Primary Arms PLX Compact. 1:8 is my LPVO of choice. And if I know I'm going to be shooting at farther distances at a match, I will put that on. But if I know I'm shooting inside of 100 at a match, I will use the aims. What is the 45 offset for then? It's because match directors, of which I am one, love to challenge shooters, especially right-handed shooters, by putting in hard left leans, putting you in an awkward body position and forcing you to make hits. So the offset red dot is extremely useful, being able to sort of roll the rifle 45 degrees in your shoulder, maneuver around a wall or a barricade, still be able to aim, because we can't hit what we can't see. We should always be aiming, and still make those hits safely. So that's what the offset is for. So that is definitely the number one. It is the Sterling Arsenal SAR 15. Yeah, I know it's kind of boring, it's an AR, but man, it is my workhorse. I shoot thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds per year in this, and I have done so for the better part of a decade, and it still just keeps on ticking, which shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. So that's my top 5 favorite guns. Let me know what your favorite rifles are down in the comments. Thank you.